Hi, sweet soul. Welcome to another Toad story, Tales of Authentic Decisions. These are stories about moments that matter, the kind where someone chooses truth over comfort, clarity over chaos, or freedom over family expectations. Today's story is called Best Contact is No Contact. It's sharp and it's real. It's about Karma Lee, a mental health nurse with a name that turned out to be more accurate than anyone could have guessed. Raised in a household that looked tidy on the outside but ran on control and emotional acrobatics, she learned how to survive, and much later, how to get free. If you've ever walked away from dysfunction and been called ungrateful for it, this story's for you. Settle in, get comfort, and let's begin. Chapter 1, the name says it all. My name is Karma Lee. Yes, that Karma. And yes, my mother actually named me that on purpose. She thought it was funny. What's funnier is, I grew into it. I don't go around starting drama, but I've learned how to finish it. When people cross a line, especially family, I don't scream, I don't throw things. I go quiet, I step back, and one day they realize the bridge is gone. And then best contact is no contact. That might sound cold, but let me explain something. My mother, born Bethel, changed names more often than some people change their furnace filter. She was Betty for a while, then Sunny. She landed on Honey near the end, which is almost poetic considering how bitter she really was. People would call her by the name they met her as, so at any gathering you could tell who knew her by what name she was using at the time. She'd be in the yard. Hey, Betty. Sunny. Hey, you made it. Honey, can you pass the potato salad? It was like a roll call for chaos, and as bizarre as that was, this barely scratches the surface. Mom had 4 kids with 3 different fathers. She called it diversifying the gene pool. I called it Tuesday. There were rumors about other pregnancies that just disappeared, no explanations. One day she'd stop talking about a name she'd been repeating for weeks, and we just knew not to ask. Despite all the wild, Mom had food on the table. She wasn't lazy. She was unhinged with hustle. She worked in a nursing home once. No idea how she got hired. She claimed to be a certified care aide, and it could be, but we doubt it. Later, she worked in a daycare, probably with a forged certificate. No one knows. But her longest gig was in a hospital admin. How she managed to get in and stay there is one of life's great mysteries. Right up there with Stonehenge and how my youngest brother had ended up being a redhead. Chapter 2. The Grocery List Hustle. Mom was a manipulator, yes, but in ways that almost deserved respect. She didn't push for big child support payments. I know she got modest child support payments. She pushed for cooperation with a list. Every father, grandfather, or half-interested relative got the same instructions. Pick up your kid every other week and bring what's on the list. No negotiations, no substitutes. Quiet compliance. And weirdly, they all did it. Jason's dad, his list. Bananas, milk, cheese, butter, eggs, flour, 1 box of cereal. Always the same, always name brand. That man could have walked into a grocery store blindfolded and still nailed it. Jake's dad, 4 loaves of whole wheat bread, 4 tins of tuna, mayo, and a large bag of apples. You could track custody weekends by the scent of tuna melts and toast in the air. Eric's dad, aka the hygiene sponsor, his list. Soaps, dish soap, laundry soap, shampoo and conditioner, and bathroom cleaners. Once he brought an air freshener, but Mom sent it back out to the car. Not on the list, she said, like he was trying to sneak in a bribe. She didn't ask for much, but she expected whatever she asked for, and somehow that made it all feel normal. Like we were some part of some bizarre subscription box service for broken family dynamics. Honestly, I think the dads preferred it that way. Stick to the list, hand over the groceries, smile for the pickup photo, and avoid deeper involvement. She was easier to deal with when you gave her exactly what she wanted. And we always had enough, not much, but enough. The pantry was never full, yet the table had food. Our clothes were clean, if a little mismatched, and Betty, Sunny, Honey, whatever name she was using that month, kept the house immaculate, spotless actually. Like if the inside was perfect enough, it might distract people from the circus that was going on inside. Chapter 3, House Rules and Other Cult-like Guidelines. We didn't go to church. We didn't belong to a cult, at least not officially. But growing up in Betty's house, we had rules that would have made any doomsday compound proud. Taking baths, for instance. We weren't allowed to shower, only baths, no splashing, no relaxing. This wasn't a spa day. It was a state-sanctioned hygiene. Each of us had an assigned bath time written in a Sharpie on a laminated schedule taped to the back of the bathroom door. Your name, your start time, and your mandatory exit time down to the minute. 15 minutes, not a second more. It didn't matter if you had hockey practice, your period, you came home covered in mystery cafeteria gravy, you got in and you got out. Anything else was considered stealing someone else's hygiene window, which in our house was apparently a crime. There was a second bathroom downstairs, but it was only for bodily business. Small, damp, and smelling like unresolved trauma. That's where we brushed our teeth always. Even if you were on the top floor at midnight with the flu, you did not brush your teeth in the main bathroom. Mom called it a division of duties. I called it weird. But in her mind, it made sense. The main bathroom was for cleaning, hygiene. The basement bathroom was for everything else. And whatever you used down there, you took back with you. Toothbrushes, hairbrushes, deodorant, hair ties, no trace of anything left behind. She'd do random checks to make sure nothing had been stored inappropriately. The entire system ran like a boot camp run by a wellness-obsessed tyrant. Weirdly enough, everyone followed it because in Betty's world, compliance meant peace, and peace, however fragile, was always worth more than a fight. Chapter 4, Freedom with Conditions. People assume a house full of kids meant chaos, but not in Betty's house. We didn't bring people over, ever. Not even our friends, not even for birthdays. Even Betty's boyfriends turned baby daddies never made it past the porch. It was like once the DNA was collected and the child support plan negotiated, she wiped her hands of any lingering emotional clutter. As kids, we were never forbidden from having friends. It was just understood that no one was welcome, and honestly, that was fine with most of us. Like, how do you explain your life to somebody who gets to eat whenever they're hungry and thinks basement brushing is optional? The strange part, if it wasn't your bath night, you could stay out as late as you wanted. No curfew, no check-ins. You could be skating till midnight or roaming around riding your bikes, and Mom didn't bat an eye. Yet if it was your scheduled bath night, you'd better be home. No excuses, no delays. Bath night meant you stayed in the house all day. Miss your slot and you better pray you got a fever or were sick because rescheduling was not an option. She left us to our freedom as long as we obeyed the rules. The rules, in case you're wondering: no talking during meals, no complaining about food. Plates were portioned for you. You ate what was on it, full stop. No opening the fridge. You weren't entitled to see what was in there. You could drink water as much as you wanted, as long as the glass was washed, dried, and put away immediately after. No TV ever. No whining about anything. That said, she always had art supplies, boxes of drawing paper, proper journals, quality pens and markers, no screens, but endless pages to pour yourself into. We lived in a 3-bedroom older home. I had the smallest room, barely enough for a bed and a shelf. The boys shared the biggest room, 2 bunk beds, 1 single bed, 3 high-boy dressers, and labeled totes crammed underneath. Mum, of course, had the 3rd bedroom, always locked when she wasn't in it. In fact, I'd never seen her room. Break a rule and you lost your bed privileges. That's right, bed privileges. If you lost your bed privileges, you'd end up in the camping cot in the cobweb basement, cold and damp, the kind of place you swore was haunted even if you didn't believe in ghosts. I still remember the night my youngest brother got banished. He cried, soft at first, then louder. Betty didn't come, so I snuck downstairs. I curled up beside him, wrapped us both up in a dirty laundry blanket, and hummed quietly until his breathing slowed. This was the first night that I really understood. I wasn't just a sister. I was the buffer, the interpreter, the one who ran interference. And if I didn't do it, who would? Chapter 5, The Soft Landing. Weekends with my grandparents were the closest thing I had to sanity. They lived 15 minutes away, but it might as well have been in another country. Their house had carpet that felt like clouds and a hallway that always smelled like cinnamon and fabric softener. There was a rocking chair by the window, 2 cookie tins, one for real cookies, one for sewing things, an actual conversation at the dinner table. No rules, no rigid silence, actual talking. It was quieter there in the best possible way. No yelling, no weird power games, no mandatory bath slots, I could linger in the tub for a whole 20 minutes if I wanted to, and no one would say anything. Hell, I could brush my teeth upstairs and no one tracked where my toothbrush went. They called me sweetheart and asked questions like, how was your week? What are you reading? Do you want jam on your toast or just butter? Options. That was the word. There were options. I had a toothbrush that stayed at their house, a drawer of clean pajamas, even a coat that stayed by the door, so I never had to pack one. My grandfather would make scrambled eggs with extra cheese and let me stir while he told stories about his army days and his favorite trees. My grandmother kept a bottle of shampoo just for me, the kind that smelled like roses. It was the really good quality, expensive stuff. She'd comb my hair afterward and say every girl should have someone to comb their hair at least once a week. I wanted to live there. Every time I was dropped off, I wanted to unpack my bag and stay for good, but I couldn't because my brothers needed someone to translate Betty's moods, to pack their lunches, to explain the rules without making them cry, to sneak into the basement on bad nights and whisper, "You're okay, I'm here." So I went back every Sunday without question, because I was the oldest and because I knew how to survive her. Chapter 6. Damaged and Brilliant. Time passed. We all grew up. And somehow, despite the chaos, or maybe because of it, we turned out talented, a little damaged, a little off-kilter, but talented. Turns out Betty, or whatever name she was using at the time, had a knack for DNA collection. The fathers she chose were a mess, but their genes were solid. We had musical ability, mathematical minds, athletic, we had sharp tongues and soft hearts. A science fair of potential with emotional instability as the shared display. My dad, after years of sobriety and amends, set up an education trust for me. A quiet gesture, no big speeches, just a meeting with a lawyer and the words, "You're smart, you deserve this." At 18, I was legally free. No one could stop me from leaving. The youngest brother was 8, the oldest 15. They still needed watching, guiding, but I'd done my shift, years of it, and deep down I knew I couldn't save them if I stayed, not without losing myself in the process. So I left, not far, but far enough. I went into nursing, chose a specialty that made everyone blink twice, psychiatric care, because nothing in a locked ward could surprise me after Betty's house. Psych evaluations were basically dinner table flashbacks. De-escalation training felt like second nature. I wasn't jaded, I was fluent, and I was good, the kind of nurse who remembers names, brings extra blankets, and notices the quiet patients, because once upon a time, I had been the quietest patient in a house no one else could see into. Chapter 7. The Line That Doesn't Get Crossed. Mom finally did it. She finally snapped. One day she banished the kids to the basement. Not just one of them, all of them. For what, you ask? Some minor infraction. Back talk, a shoe left on the stairs. Could have been breathing too loud, maybe. All 3 of them were still at home. I heard about it within the hour. Not from Mom, of course. From the youngest, who used the neighbor's Wi-Fi to send a one-line message. Mom lost it again. She locked us in the basement. I didn't hesitate. I got in the car. I picked them all up. I didn't pack bags. I didn't ask permission. I just got them out. I called CPS, and for once the system didn't fail them. They got in touch with the dads, and miracle of miracles, one of them showed up, said he'd take all 3 of them while things were sorted out. I didn't say much. I didn't need to, because when Mom finally showed up, storming, shrieking, ready to burn the place down with her mouth, the worker was already there. I just stood in the doorway, calm, watched it all unfold, and I didn't flinch. An order of protection was issued for all the children, charges filed for emotional abuse and neglect, and just like that, the line was drawn. No more manipulation, no more, but she did her best. No more rewriting history. She once made hot meals and labeled art supplies. Well, so what? We are all no contact now, forever, and it's not a punishment, it's not a revenge, it's peace. And strange as it is, we're more a family now than we were ever in that house. I have my dad, my stepmom, aunts and uncles on my father's side. Some of my brothers have dads who include all of us. One of my brother's half-sisters, who isn't related to me at all, works with me now. We do lunch sometimes. Her parents always make extra room at holidays. It's weird, patchwork, beautiful, because family doesn't come from shared blood. It comes from people who see your worth and stay steady. As for her, whatever she's calling herself these days, She can keep it. She named me Carmelie, and I finally decided to live up to that name. Chapter 8, You Made It. It was in an old box of things I hadn't opened in years. A tangle of plastic of past lives, report cards, poems scribbled in the margins of old school notes, a few birthday cards from my grandparents. At the bottom, a journal, soft cover, floral print, bent in at the corners. I flipped through it slowly, pages full of 13-year-old heartbreak and cryptic survival codes. And then I found it, a note folded twice, taped to the inside, addressed to future me. The handwriting was light, pressed hard into the paper, and even if the pen was trying too hard, I read it once and then I read it twice. And then on a clean page near the front, the hand steadier than they had, I wrote this. Carmelie, you made it. Not just out of the house, not just into a career. You made it home to yourself. You built a life with walls that don't echo. You trust your gut. You sleep through the night. You love people who actually know how to love you back. You don't explain yourself anymore. You don't justify peace. You don't feel guilty for walking away from pain you didn't cause. Your brothers are growing into themselves just like you. And you know deep down that staying wouldn't have saved them, but leaving showed them that it was possible. You don't owe anyone your silence, not even her, especially her. You get to have joy now. On ordinary Tuesdays with fresh coffee and open windows and people who make space for your voice. You don't flinch anymore when the phone rings. You made it. And it wasn't luck. It was a choice. It was grit. It was you. Love me. The end. Thank you for listening. Best contact is no contact isn't just a catchy phrase. It's a survival classic. Sometimes the bravest thing we do is walk away quietly, clearly, and without needing anyone's permission. If this story spoke to something in you, I invite you to share more stories from Toad Stories. Until next time, sweet soul, be good to yourself and remember, not all bridges are meant to be rebuilt.